West Carrollton resident Ben Peter is making a name for himself in the special effects industry.
I like to work with my hands as much as possible. My favorite thing to do is the sculpting aspect, building a character, and then seeing it come to life as you work on it is one of my favorite things. I was watching a TV show and saw a guy named Ray Villafane, and he was carving pumpkins. And I figured if he could do it, you know, it looks pretty simple, I could probably do it too. I would probably buy 3 pumpkins a week and just try and do what I could with them. I wanted to try and make my pumpkins look more realistic, and so I went to cinema makeup school to try and figure out the symmetry of the nose and the face and the eyes and the lips, and kind of got sucked into the industry from there. For being a special effects artist, you really are a multimedia artist. You do the sculpting, the drawing, the conceptual designing, having the understanding of how to kind of create something three-dimensionally in a drawing really helps you into the next step, which would be the sculpting. If you understand it on 2 dimensions, as you're working in 3 dimensions, it's a lot easier to push something back or pull something forward. So they really go hand in hand with that. Prosthetics are pretty much used for all of the special effects industries. You start out with a life cast, which is a copy of, you know, somebody's face, whoever it is that you're going to be making the prosthetic for, and it's a stone copy. And then you'll sculpt the clay over the top of that, and then you'll make a mold, which is a copy of your sculpt, really. I've got a cake mixer, which is for making the foam latex. You got to whip it up because it's like a 4-part batch. Once you pour latex into the mold, you throw it in the oven. Once you take it apart, if you've done everything correctly, your prosthetic should pull out nice and easy. So if you look at movies, some of the main characters have different facial features than what you would expect, or even TV shows like Star Trek. You know, all these different aliens that are up in space, all of those had to be prosthetics. So for the industry, it's a well-utilized tool. Knowing how to paint, you can actually take a bad sculpture and make it look really pretty with just paint. Women do it every day when it comes to beauty makeup. It's called contour and shadowing. So it's the perfect example. You have to really understand pigments and skin tones and layers. You don't just use a skin tone, base tone, and you're done with it. You know, you'll never get the realism of actual skin. Since there's blood flowing through our skin, you start out with a pink tone, and then you can go through and put lighter tones over the top of it, and then you've got your eye bags or skin imperfections, freckles. So that pretty much just comes down to paint, and being able to know what color to use and at what layer to use it at is really the important part as the special effects artist, because anybody can just take and throw paint on something, but to have it look realistic when it's just a piece of foam is really the trick. I like changing the facial structures and body structures, because to completely change it and make it look like it belongs there, give them a big jaw or a big nose or, you know, big ears with big horns or something, and to make it look right, it's not easy. My biggest challenge as a special effects artist would pretty much be the concept designing. As a designer, you really have to think of certain things, like how old is that cut? Is it an infected cut? What kind of a cut is it? You know, is it cut with a knife or is it a gash? What is their skin type like? All those different things that have to be put into the design, you know, the very beginning workings of it before you can even sculpt anything, before you can paint it or apply it or anything. As a special effects artist, I challenge myself with making sure that I think of those details before somebody else. I think special effects is just another avenue of art. I know that I can sculpt and I can paint and I can do all these things. Well, now I can sculpt something, make it, and then apply it to someone's face, paint it, and create something completely different that'll actually walk around and talk to you and interact with you. And I think that's a valuable skill, especially with computers nowadays. Everybody wants to CG everything with green screens or blue screens or whatever. And to have that practical effects that you can walk up and touch something and, you know, be a part of it is what I think is really important. There are potential opportunities here in Dayton as far as movies. And the thing that I'm probably going to try and focus on the most is my own personal art, doing my own kind of sculptures and recreating things. Sometimes it's hard, but you make time for it because it's a passion.